Yo, what's going on, man? Today is September the 19th. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn WNBA Show for today. We got every team in the W playing for today. Not really much to recap because we didn't have any games yesterday. I did want to make sure I had the updated lines. These lines changed a little bit overnight. I want to make sure I had the best numbers for you guys. So bear with me for just a second before we get started. And then we'll jump into the show for today. So Chicago and Phoenix is 12.5, 154, it looks like, is consensus. We'll rock with that one. Then we got Atlanta and Liberty. New York laying a point, it looks like now, is the consensus. 1.5 is the consensus. A couple of these did change overnight. And like I said, I just wanted to make sure we had the best numbers available. And this should be 158.5. So bear with me for a second, y'all. You do all your work early and then everything changes and you got to work. You got to work even more. 165.5. All right, Sparks, Lynx, 3.5 is the number. And total come down to 155.5. All right, let's I think I got and the Aces line moved a lot. They're actually getting 2.5 now from laying 8.5 when they opened because all the injury news that happened in that game, and that total and dropped a lot to 169.5. It looks like it's the consensus number there. All right, so we'll go through these games pretty quickly after I get all the numbers up. Storm and the Mercury. Mercury getting a 1.5. Well, getting a 1.5 at the crib. Total hasn't really moved a lot in that one at all. All right. So now let's jump into it. Now that I got all the odds up, one thing I did want to mention was I forgot to mention this yesterday, but we cashed on that Sparks team total under for the full season. 8.5. I think I sent it out maybe a month ago, but that loss of course they're playing their last game now, and they can't get the 9 wins anymore. So yesterday when I did the recap, it should have been a 3-0 day instead of a 2-0 day. Because we did cash that 1 unit play on the Sparks team total to stay under 8.5. I think they've lost 10 games in a row now. So, shout out to the Sparks, man. Definitely treating us well this morning. Let's go through a couple of the comments before we get started. What up to my guy, Justin? Prestigious Prodigy in here as well. Top of the morning to the gang, as always, for being here. Mark in here this morning, reminding everybody to hit the like button. Appreciate that. Justin says he jumped on the Dream plus 3.5 as soon as it came out yesterday, or as soon as I caught it. What up to my guy Marquise? GB bets in here as well. He says, what up, fam? Hope everyone cashed out last night. What up, Jobby? He says, best bet today, Mystics first half, and Atkins over her 15.5 points. Ladder to 20 in this spot. D Johnson trying to get paid for the last day. Cuppa Joe says, I didn't even check the lines. I'm behind. Top of the top. He says, top of the top, good people and bad people if you're here. It's always a couple bad ones lurking too, but it's cool. GB says, Chris, I'm new to the W this year, but how do you feel about trends this late into the season? Got this one today. This year, team not playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. They previously lost as a home favorite in their away dog. For the last game of the season, I think it just really comes down to motivation, GB. So I didn't look into any trends at all. That's just my thought process. In the playoffs, yeah, you can find some trends, but you also just got to watch the games and just kind of be locked in as well. If you've been betting WNBA for the full season, you know which teams are, a tad bit overinflated, which ones are still, a bit undervalued just based on, the lines and the numbers that come out too. What's up, Ray? Says Dream is definitely getting that last spot. Good morning, Kyra. She said, I don't care if you even win it. Bet your house on it. Thank you later. Okay. Marquis says Mystics will put up a fight tonight. What up to my guy Helms? Prolific in here as well. Y'all deep this morning. What up, Can't Stop? Helms says he grabbed the Wings money line at plus 285. What up, King Predictions? Alex says he tried betting baseball out of boredom, learned his lesson. I see a lot of people saying that recently. Lewis says Liberty locked into the playoffs. Do you think they will be resting players? So I'll give you guys my thought process on all of it and let you know what the coaches are saying. Yesterday I did listen. It was about an hour, but I listened to every post-game interview from Tuesday night just to try to see like how the coaches are going to gauge the players. And I got some quotes from coaches. I'll share those with you guys in a second. What up, Redemption? He says he tapped in every morning. He says tap in with you today as always on Rakia today since Lynx are resting their best players today. Yeah, Rakia. Let's see if Rakia lock in for the last game. What up, Dropping Dimes? Good morning, Bob. Man, the comments are deep this morning. All right, let's jump into it, man. Let's just Phil says MLP is AIDS. That's funny. Let's jump into it for today, man. First game up. Well, before we get into the first game, here are the standings for you guys, just so people know. I like to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on. Liberty locked into the number 1 seed. Lynx locked into the number 2 seed. Connecticut and Aces are, that 3-4 can change. 5 and 6 or 5, 6, and 7 are what they're going to be. And then, of course, their last spot. It's a lot of different scenarios. I'll share those with you guys as well. I do have those saved, I think, on my phone somewhere. All right, so we'll get into it. First game, and here for people, screenshot this if you need it. But per sporting news, this is how the tiebreakers work. I'm not gonna read all that, but if you guys are interested, I read it already. But if you guys are interested, it's there for you guys as well. You could just screenshot it and look at that if you're interested in how the tiebreaker works. If there was a tie and what determines the tiebreaker. All right, so first game up, we got Sky and the Sun. This line is let's see, the best number right now you can get for Chicago is let's see, you can get a plus 13.5 for the Chicago Sky. And it's a game that I did bet. Not the biggest play in the world, and potentially you could potentially get a better line, but I mentioned it for Chicago already. They need a win, right? So you can look at all the stuff that's on the board on the screen, because I always try to make sure it's updated, give you guys, the updated seasonal rankings and seasonal records and all those different things. But the Sky need a win. They need a win and they need help. I was listening to both of these coaches, and I guess I'll start with Connecticut first. Coach Stephanie White said that, she was going to find a happy balance between playing the players and making sure they get rest. The one thing we got to remember about Connecticut is this is an older team, right? I don't think that they're necessarily worried about losing this game. And before I get there, let's not get ahead of myself. Let's go to the injury report, just so I can make sure I share that with you guys as well. Probably should have did that already. So we have Kennedy Carter listed as questionable. She did not play in the last game in Atlanta. We got Cardosa also listed as doubtful, unlikely to play. She probably won't play, honestly. And then Dominic Shields is also out. For Connecticut, Sandy White was one of the only coaches that didn't list anybody on the injury report yesterday. I did take the Sky plus the 13, though. Listening to, Connecticut's coach, Stephanie White, talk about how she probably will, rest her players. Remember, if we remember back to the right before the Olympic break, it was the game before the Olympic break that she just decided to rest. She just decided to rest Alyssa Thomas right before the game. Didn't tell anybody. And I think we could potentially see something like that as well. Remember, Connecticut is one of the older teams in the league, and they're really, fighting for a championship. They really want a championship. So I don't think they really care too much about this game, whether they're the 3 seed or the 4 seed. Alyssa Thomas said she felt like they didn't have anything to prove. And then on the opposite side, when I listened to Coach Teresa Weatherspoon, she was like, we got everything to play for. Like, we're not wrapping it up. We don't care about the draft pick, none of that. Like, our focus is on winning the next game. And then they also interviewed Rachel Branham after the game. It was her and I think Breonna Taylor and Turner, and she was, both of them were saying respectfully, we could care less about the draft. We really just want to win this game. And we're not focused on the future. We're focused on the present. So for that reason, I did grab the 13. I think it's a big number. Connecticut typically doesn't win by double digits when they're a home favorite. And I could see a situation where either one, some of these players are ruled out late for the Connecticut side, or two, they play them first half and then don't play them in the second half. So I did grab Chicago. I grabbed Chicago plus 13, thinking that the line was probably going to move. I'm not sure if Kenny Carter's going to play or not, but I do think Connecticut hasn't listed some of their players out that could potentially miss the game, if not play half of the game. So looks like Helms on the right there with me, says Sky plus 13. Ray says he's taking the money line for the Sky. Sean also won the Sky plus 13. Helm says after seeing the aces resting, Sun don't got to worry about the aces trying to catch them. Sun won't play starters full, and I agree. I absolutely agree. Aces already, got a lot of those players. The whole starting lineup for the most part listed as doubtful. He says, and if they do, it's another thing I can add to me thinking about their coaches suck. And I agree with that as well. What up, Big Mar? Top of the morning to my guy Lightbearer. Mark says, how about a Sun first half -7, then Sky win and cover? If the Sun have a big lead at the end of the first half, I still take the Sky in the second half because I really think that these players not gonna play the full game. Helm says Sky don't even own their first round pick. CG says Sky first half, Sun second half. I couldn't disagree with this one more, CG. I think it'd be opposite. I don't think the Sun will play their main players in the second half. So I couldn't take Sun second half, but teach his own. That's how I feel about that one. I think we did a pretty good job there. Next up, we got the Dream and the Liberty. This line was at 4.5, and I just updated this right before we started. Now down to 1.5 here. So for Atlanta, and I talked about this before, the Tuesday game. I said I thought Atlanta was going to get the last seed. So for Atlanta, 2-game winning streak. If they win, they're in. Win or Chicago lost, and they secured the 8th seed because Chicago does own the tiebreaker over them. But Chicago, going back to it, Chicago needs a lot to happen. They must win. So just going back to the last game, Chicago must win, and they need losses from the Mystics, and the Mercury. So likelihood of Chicago making the playoffs probably not that high. But to the Dream win, and they get the 8th seed. If they lose, the tiebreaker comes into play, and I already showed you guys that screen. So all they need is a win. I'm pretty sure they're gonna play really, really hard here. As far as injury report for this game, Haley Jones is listed as a game time decision. She did exit the last game, but she is listed as probable for this one. It was a calf injury for Haley Jones coming off the bench. And then for the Liberty, Coach Sandy Brondello didn't say. Well, she didn't rest. Nobody's listed on the injury report for rest, but Brondello did say, quote, they won't overplay anyone, which is kind of what happened in their last game on Tuesday when they were in DC. They didn't overplay anyone. Their bench scored 40 points in that game, and their bench is good. Like when the Liberty are playing that type of basketball that they played against the Washington Mystics, where they came out and just dominated them from the beginning of the game, the ball's moving, it's hopping. It's difficult, man. If I had to play the game, though, I mean, how could you not take the Dream? I don't know if the Liberty are going to pack it in, but I could see Coach Sonny Mondello potentially resting some players here. It's Dream money line or nothing for me because they need this win in the worst way. I didn't play the game, but that's the only way that I would look. And like I said, this line open with the Liberty laying 4.5, and it's down to 1.5. So Dream money line would be the way that I would play it and catching the points as well. Redemption says Marina Mabry revenge game. She's still young. You think she just play a bit more? Probably not. Like at the end of the season, when you really have nothing to play for, I mean, of course you want to kind of keep your rhythm. Like a couple coaches talked about keeping rhythm, but I couldn't take Marina Mabry. I'm not taking any player props today. Nothing really stood out to me. Maybe y'all can convince me of something else. Can't Stop says, I would take the Sky in the points, but don't know if I can make it to the window with that. Yeah, I think the Sky will be because Sky have been pretty competitive all season. I know they're down, some key players, but I'm not trusting the Connecticut Sun without knowing their rotation here. So those are my thoughts. Cubba Joe says, Chris, you moved the hell out of that Skyline. I didn't move it. I think it went backwards, honestly, because you can get a plus 13.5 unless it's moving now. But it was when I betted it was plus 13 yesterday, and it moved to 13.5, and I still see 13.5 on ESPN Bet right now. So you can get a better line than I got. Likelihood that Kennedy Carter plays, I think, is there. And if she plays, you definitely get the better at a number. Marquise likes the dreams. He said dream money line hands down. Helms, this is what I was thinking. He said this game is a hard pass, and I'm right there. Maybe, Liberty, pull players at the end of the game. This is gonna be a live betting game. Maybe the Liberty pull players in the second half, and you see the bench. But like I said, the Liberty bench is even good too, man. I do think the Dream would beat the Liberty's bench. Tina Charles is gonna be fired up. Jordan Canada, Ryan Howard, like Alicia Gray, like they're gonna be fired up. Like, with the playoffs on the line. Dougie Bone says at least takes Tina Charles points. Yeah, I could see Tina Charles having a big game, especially with this potentially being her last game. I think I kind of think she's gonna come back and play again for Atlanta next year. She got something left in the tank, in my opinion, but we'll see how it goes. Ray says they win. They won't have to leave New York for Sunday. Okay. What do you think about the under 158.5? I think it's a tad bit too not have enough information for me, Sean. I think I want to see who Sandy Brondello puts on the floor, because remember, the Liberty still got time to rule players out. So I know I'm doing the show super early. It's 8:10 on the East Coast, but that's one of the things that kind of kept me off of playing this game early. I want to see what it looks like right before the tip, and if I have something that I love, I'll send it out to the members. Let's see. Yeah, Helm says right there with me. Live spot for sure. Morning to you, Kristen. Says best of luck to everyone today. Right back at you. And Jabba says, man, the Liberty Sabali masterclass today. It could be her. It could be Kayla Thornton. It could be, man, that bench is deep. It's really, really deep. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we got Fever and the Mystics. This line opened with the Mystics laying 3. Then it went to 3.5 when the news came out that why am I having a brain fart? The news that Brittany Sykes, that's what I'm trying to think about. That Brittany Sykes was off the injury report. She did kind of injure her toe. She left that game the other day when they took the loss to the Liberty. It's the last home game for them. You got the Fever in town. Aaliyah Edwards is ruled out. The Indiana Fever have not ruled out anybody quite yet. But I did. So what Coach Christy Side said, the Indiana Fever coach, is that, she was going to talk with her coaching staff. She really wouldn't say, but she was going to talk with her coaching staff to see, how they were going to play the minutes for the starters. The Mystics got everything to play for in this game. And even without Aaliyah Edwards, even them being on a downward tailspin, because they had a chance, to get the AC. Now, of course, they would need a win. Let's see. The Mystics would need a win and a dream loss to claim the AC. So if the Mystics win, they still got a chance. They just need the Liberty to beat the Dream. This was a game that I was interested in as well. I do think that we see the best version of the Mystics in this spot. It sucks that Aaliyah Edwards is not there. She's already been ruled out because they will need her rebounding presence, in my opinion. But I kind of think that the Fever could potentially struggle defensively here. I mean, they're already not the greatest defensive team. We just saw the Dallas Wings score 109, 108 points against this same Fever defense. And I think the Mystics can also find some success, especially with their season on the line. So when the line came out yesterday at 3, and Brittany Sykes got ruled in, it immediately went to 3.5. Now it's been bet down. When it went to 3.5, I bet the money line. Now it's been bet down to 2, so you can get an even better money line here. And like I said, I'm of the mindset that Christy Sykes probably not going to play the starters full minutes. I know that the Fever are the youngest team in the WNBA, but it's not something that I would put my money on to take the Fever in this spot when they really have nothing to play for. So I could see a situation where, starters play first half again, or, maybe she ended up resting, a couple of the starters. I could see Kelsey Mitchell potentially not playing, Aaliyah Boston potentially playing first half, or probably the first half and not the second half. Maybe she's a late scratch. So it's only Mystics for me. I did play the money line. Like I said, you can get a much better number now with the Mystics on the money line. So those are my thoughts. I also I do lean over as well. Just didn't quite get there because I think the Fever will play fast. I don't think that they'll play any defense, and I think the Mystics should be able to score the basketball. And it's just difficult without knowing who's going to play, because we know for the Indiana Fever, their offense starts and stops with Caitlin Clark. She's one of the better players in the WNBA. her ability to be able to shoot the ball, stretch the floor, find her teammates, play with pace, push in transition. So yeah, I stayed off of that one. I stayed off of the total, but I do like I would lean over. Dougie Bones says, Helm says another hard pass here. Dougie Bones says Caitlin Clark triple-double alive if she plays, over on the total. Mark says he's also leaning over. Marquis says he likes the over. Drop a Dime says he grabbed the Fever at +3.5. He says word around town is the Fever want to finish with a winning record. So I won't be surprised if the Fever went harder than people expect. Fever had a winning record since 2015. I did hear that as well. I just think given the spot, they're going to have to really bring it to beat the Mystics. And they are the better team, especially without Aaliyah Edwards there. But I think it's going to be a little difficult here. Bill says easy over here. Helm says Fever had a legitimate chance to knock off the Sun round 1. They have a legitimate chance to knock off the Sun in round 1. I kind of agree, Helms. They're going to have to play some defense, though, man. This Fever defense is bad. It's really bad. I didn't even get here, but you can see last 5 games, they're 11th defensive rated team. And they have played against some really good offenses. They've also played they just can't get stops. And I think that's going to be the detriment to this team. But that's something I've been thinking really hard about, because they will get matched up with Connecticut no matter what happens. As long as Connecticut wins and the Aces don't lose, they'll end up with Connecticut in the playoffs. So yeah, it's going to be difficult, because I think it's going to be difficult for them to win on the road. They got to. The first round is best of 3, so you got to play both of your first 2 games on the road if you're the Fever, because you're the 6th seed, and you got to force a game 3 to go back to Indiana. And I think it's going to be difficult for them to win in Connecticut, in my opinion, just because while Connecticut's offense can struggle, this Fever defense is terrible, specifically just all the time. It's bad, man. Jabba says, Chris, trust me now, Atkins points. She hates the Fever, and she's a guard. Look at the recent games. Nah, I'm not disagreeing with that. Like I just said, the Fever defense is trash. So I can see Brittany Sykes, Ariel Atkins having a big game here. Helm says, yep, but if you still won, you get 3 at home. Game 3 at home. That's true. They're going to have to steal one, though. That defense, boy. Now, if they was hosting, I'd say, okay, cool, because it's hard to outscore them. And remember, I was on the Fever when they beat the Connecticut Sun last time they played. That game was in Connecticut in Indiana about 2 weeks ago. I like the Fever in that spot. Everybody else was on Connecticut. I don't know, man. I don't trust them on the road. The defense is terrible. All right, another game this one was a hard pass for me too. Sparks and the Minnesota Lynx. Line open 5.5 in favor of the Lynx. It got money came in on the Sparks, which is scary to me. Down to 3.5. Total moved down as well. 157.5 is what it opened at. It's down to 155.5. So, like I mentioned, the Minnesota Lynx locked in the 2 seed, and you guys can see top left. Sparks just here to have fun. Their season been over. They're 7-32 on the season. They only won 2 of their 19 games on the road. The Lynx did rule out, just for people who didn't get a chance to see it, they did rule out Nafisha Collier and Kayla McBride. There is potential for Crystal Reeves, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, to continue to rule out players. We'll see how that goes. The Sparks also got the same people on the injury report. No Aaron McDonald, no Lazy Clarendon, no Lexi Brown. Odyssey Sims is listed as questionable. And I was waiting to see if Rakia Jackson was going to get suspended for the little touch-up that she had with Brittany Griner, but nothing came out from the league on that. So, Sparks is here to have fun, man. I have no idea what to do with this game. I will tell you guys this, though. What Coach Crystal Reeves said is, and this is a quote, she says, it's safe to say we won't run our players into the ground and that we'd like to finish with a home win. So they do want to win the game, but do they win by 2 possessions? I'm not sure. It's difficult. Remember when Nafisha Collier was out, for an extended period of time when she had, I think it was plantar fasciitis or whatever she had like in her lower leg injury. The Mystics the Lynx really struggled to score the basketball. Now I'm not betting anything on the Sparks though. So I guess it still be Lynx in this spot for me. It's a game that clearly they don't care about, and that makes it hard for me to want to bet it. But I can't take the Sparks here. I can't take the Sparks until next year, probably a month into the season. I need to see a lot from this team before I want to bet on them. Ball Talk says, what's up, basketball family? Yesterday was horrendous. Let's make some money today. Helm says he likes Ariel Atkins. She's been a champion. She's been on a championship team. Get her the ball. You grab Sparks at +6, Helm says. Okay. Says don't love it though. Ray likes the Sparks on the money line. Mark says either live bet or pass. And Team Red Wolf says she likes the Sparks in this one as well. Okay. Hard pass for Can't Stop. He says, I hate betting the meaningless games at the end of the season. Me too, man. I can't bet the meaningless ones. Not before the season, not before the game starts. All right, I think we got 2 games left. Let's see if we can get through these real quick. We got the Wings and the Aces, with the Wings getting 2.5 points now. This line opened at 8.5 in favor of the Las Vegas home favorite Aces. And the news came out, line immediately started to move. 8.5 is moved to +2.5. Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, Jackie Young are all listed as doubtful in this game due to rest. And Kirsten Bell continues to remain out as well. So I'm not sure who's going to. I mean, you're going to have Kate Martin, Cindy Colston, Tiffany Hayes, Alicia Clark, and Kia Stokes out there. The Dallas Wings haven't ruled out anybody quite yet. I'm not sure if they're going to or not. But right now, outside of Soares, who's missed, Stephanie Soares, who's missed forever, like their starting lineup is supposed to be intact. And I guess it screams Dallas Wings spot. I can't do it with the Wings, man. That's just my personal opinion. I never want to lay a point with the Wings or expect them to just be competitive and win a basketball game. Nothing came out from Coach Trammell about playing her starters or resting them. But I couldn't quite get there with the Wings. They should win the game, but let's see. As a favorite this season, 3-6 straight up, 1-8 against the number. I know that they have the much more talent in this game. This should be a smack spot. They should win this game by double digits against the Aces backups, but I still couldn't get there. Clearly, the Aces don't care about potentially moving up. For the Aces to move up to the 3 seed and play the Indiana Fever in the first round, they would need to win this game, and they would need Connecticut to lose. The likelihood that Connecticut loses is a small, very, very slim chance in my opinion. So I think, they probably just mail this one in, which is why you see all the players listed as doubtful. I'm not touching this game. Not touching this game at all. Let's see. Dog Day, Wings money line, Ray says. What up, G421? He says, what's up, Chris? Bet the under on all matchups? No. So I'm glad you mentioned this. I forgot to mention this at the top of the show. But just so you guys are aware, I did do some digging yesterday as well. So over the last 2 seasons, the final day of the regular season, totals are 13-5 to the over, 72.2%. Last 2 seasons, so the end of last year and the end of the 2022 season. So the end of the 2023, end of the 2022 season, if you combine those 2 days, 13-5 to the over, 72%. I wouldn't bet unders unless it's a very meaningful game for one of the teams. Helms jumped on the Wings +8 and the money line at +285. Dropping down since he got the Wings at +7.5 and the money line at +280. He says, I wonder if I should cash out my CLV and run. Yeah, I can't do it with the Wings. I mean, +8.5 is a really good number though. +7.5 is a really good number as well. Mark says slim pickings on a huge slate. Let's get to the playoffs. Absolutely. I'll be doing some playoff preview shows as well. Probably starting tomorrow because the playoffs do start on Sunday. And I also see the we didn't talk about the Mercury game yet, but the Mercury gonna be playing against the Lynx. They already locked in. That line is already out. It's -10 on DraftKings in favor of the Minnesota Lynx. I was already looking into that as well. Can't Stop says if Cameron Brink didn't get injured, you think the Sparks would have made the playoffs? I think they needed more than Cameron Brink, but Cameron Brink and Lexi Hall didn't. I think they have a much better chance of making the playoffs. But also, if Shakira Austin didn't get hurt and Brittany Sykes wasn't hurt, then the Mystics probably make the playoffs too. So, and you can say the same thing for Atlanta. Ryan Howard got hurt for a long time. Jordan Canada missed the first 12, 15 games of the season. Helm says not touching the line right now. He says if we get Colston props from Las Vegas, he likes her, Sydney Colston. What up, Jose? And Helm says Cameron Brink is not good. She can't help. I was about to say she can't do nothing but help defensively though. She can't do anything but help defensively. Mic drop. I'll go over Thursday Night Football at the end. All right, let's keep this one moving. Last game on the board, we got the Storm and the Mercury. This line is currently still sitting at 1.5. Let's just double check. I think it is. Yeah, it is. So Seattle is laying a point, or you can get the Mercury plus 1.5. So this line is in favor of Seattle. Injury report for this one. We got Jewel Lloyd listed as questionable. She's a game time decision. I don't think that Jewel Lloyd is going to play in this game. That's just my opinion. I did go back and listen to Coach Noelle Quinn, and I'll talk about what she said in just a second. Leslie McGuire is also still listed as out with the concussion. On the other side, we got Kahleah Copper. She's listed as questionable. So this definitely a stay away game for me without knowing the injury status. Kahleah Copper has missed 3 straight games with that back injury. And I can't find anything from Nate Tibbetts, the head coach of the Mercury, talking about, when they can expect their back, if she's making progress. I was looking deeply into that. Couldn't find anything on Kahleah Copper, though. So, and Rebecca Allen remains out as well. So, listening to Coach Noelle Quinn post-game after they lost on Tuesday night to the Las Vegas Aces when they were shorthanded, Coach Noelle Quinn said she wanted to be professional. This was the only coach that I heard say that she said, and this is a quote, she said, I want to be professional and not cautious. I want to go into the playoffs with rhythm while being mindful of her players. That was her quote. So it feels to me like, I know I said Jewel Lloyd may not play, and we'll see. Like, I think she'll probably test it out, see if she's good to go. But the rest of the Seattle players they still going to play hard in this game. For the Mercury, this is an older team. They really have nothing to play for. I could see, a situation where, Diana Taurasi potentially rests in this spot. Brittany Griner potentially rests in this spot. So yeah, this would be the game, I guess, that I would probably be on the Storm. They have not done well, on the road specifically, and they probably will be locked in on. They probably will be locked in on, the playoff game against the Aces, and because neither one of these teams have anything to play for, I just think the Storm are the better team. So I'd be looking at the Storm on this one. Probably take them on the money line here, but not a game that I played quite yet. Probably just wait to see what happens with Jewel Lloyd and see what happens with Kahleah Copper. But I'm thinking that they both probably sit. And if they do sit, like I said, I think it could be more additions for the Mercury potentially sitting as well. And I would be looking towards the Storm. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one before we get through and get off of here. What up, PG? It's just top of the morning game. Ball Talk says W got to do better with scheduling. I've been saying this for 2 years since I've been handicapping the WNBA. He says 0 games yesterday, 5 today. Playoffs on Sunday. Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. Great job, WNBA, promoting your product. Storm on the money. Mercury got their feet up. Team Red Wolf says, I can see the Storm beating up on the Mercury. Ray says, agree. Storm money line. Michael says, I did take the under on this game. I couldn't trust the under, but don't let me talk you off. 160.5 is a low number. Helms like the Storm on the money line. Kyra says, it's the last game before the playoffs. Can your best bets? Can we get your best bets? The ones for your paid chat? Let today be a freebie day. Chris, I always give you guys all the plays that I made. Like I like people pay for my plays, but more so what you're paying for is the plays that I make after the show, because I'm not doing another show, so I send them out to the members. But yeah, I always send out all my plays. Cup of Joe, last comment, he says, think they will be better with schedules next year. They underestimated the impact of Caitlin Clark and Reese. In the freshman class, hence big games on NFL opening Sunday. All right. So what I played, I did lock in the Washington Mystics on the money line. Like I said, I got a worse number because the line has come down. Indiana is now a 2-point dog. So like I said, don't be surprised if any of these teams that don't have anything to play for end up, ruling players out. Some of them may give you the sauce, right? Like Becky Hammond telling you that all of those players are listed as questionable, as doubtful. Some of them may not give you the sauce. And, you know, a la Stephanie White, if we see somebody get ruled out late, like a DeWanna Bonner, potentially not playing in that game, or Alyssa Thomas, especially some of these older players. I'm thinking about Diana Taurasi. I'm thinking about Brittany Griner. Like, you got to, that's what you kind of want to lock in on. I think a lot of people know this already, but that's what you got to lock in on. So I did take Washington on the money line because they need to win. I did take Chicago plus 13.5 because they need to win. And I think that line's a tad bit disrespectful. Even without Kennedy Carter being, you know, locked in. And then Dallas on the money line would be a play that I would make if I had to play that game. The line is moved now. I put this in last night, but I do think that they have a lot more talent, but we'll see what happens with Coach Tremble and see if she rests any of the Dallas Wings players tonight. And then Atlanta on the money line as well. It's a little too tricky for me right now. But I think it's an Atlanta spot. I just didn't bet it. The ones at the top, I did bet. I bet Washington on the money line, Chicago plus 13.5. And I do lean Storm as well. I lean Storm on the money line. But like I said, let's see what happens with Joel Lloyd. Let's see what happens with Kalia Copper. I will give you guys this. Kalia Copper doesn't play tonight. And Kalia Copper doesn't play until their first game against the Minnesota Lynx on Sunday. I'm taking a points prop under. I don't care what the line is. Playoffs is going to be a lot more defensive intensity, we'll see. And Minnesota Lynx been one of the better defensive teams. So if you miss 4 games before the playoffs, I'm looking at your under. I don't care. Like I said, the line with her line, it probably going to be a little bit lower, 17.5, 18.5 for Kalia Copper. But if she doesn't play tonight, that will be a play I'm locking in. I don't think you're going to come in and just find your rhythm against the Minnesota Lynx team that's really good defensively. So I'll be looking at Kalia Copper under if she does not play tonight. As far as Thursday night football, my best bet for the game, let me see if I can find my notes real quick. My best bet for the Thursday night football game is, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday. I just had a chance to do a little bit more work. Breece Hall over on his receiving yards. Somebody said it in the chat yesterday, but I went back and did some digging. 29.5 or 30.5 for Thursday night football tonight for Breece Hall. A prop that he's went over twice. He had 5 receptions on 6 targets for 39 yards in week 1. He had 7 receptions for 8 targets. 7 receptions on 8 targets in week 2 for 52 receiving yards. And it's just, for me, it's the chemistry that he's developed with Aaron Rodgers. They have a really, really great chemistry. And if you know anything about Aaron Rodgers, he locks into one target and throws it to him religiously because he trusts that receiver. So, you know, if it's not Garrett Wilson, I think it'll be, they also just don't have a great wide receiver room. So I do like, Breece Hall up and over his 29.5 or 30.5 receiving yards. I didn't even lock it in yet, but that's what I am going to play in this game. I think they'll continue to look for each other. Also, you got, who is it? Jawan Bentley that's out, one of the better linebackers for the Patriots. Patriots also could be without Jabril Peppers. Even if he comes back, it's gonna be his first game in quite some time. So I think, you know, them missing some defensive players, I think it makes it a little bit easier for New England to a little bit easier for the Jets to move the football. And it's their first home game as well. So yeah, I like that look a lot. Couldn't talk anybody off of what I played last week, which was what's his name? Ramondre Stevenson to go up and over his rushing props, either his rushing yards, I think it's 65, 66.5, or his rush attempts. He's gone over in both games so far. I think the number is 15.5. I just kind of worry about them getting behind and not being able to move the ball. If you've done any reading so far this week on the Patriots, they have talked about pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to implement that on a short week, but Jalen Pope receptions and his receiving yards is also something that is real ugly. You just have to hold your nose and play it. But Jalen Pope receiving yards, 18.5. This is the worst wide receiving core in the whole NFL, though. 18.5. The number was plus 105 on Bet365. I just kind of feel like, you know, he could see a few more targets. They could potentially get the ball out a little bit faster. The other thing about Jacoby Brissett is he's taking the second longest amount of time to get the ball out. He's holding the ball for a little over 3 seconds per drop back. And I think we can see that, potentially decrease a little bit, try to get the ball out a little bit faster. So if he does, I think it's, of course, to get it into, some of his dynamic playmakers' hands. And I say dynamic in quotations, but Jalen Pope is definitely, probably the better wide receiver that's not a tight end on his team. So I lean Jalen Pope to go up and over his receptions, up and over his receiving yards at 18.5. But I like Breece Hall and Ramondre Stevens a little bit more. That's what I'm thinking about Thursday Night Football tonight. Let's see what you guys are thinking here before we wrap up. Luis says, how do I upgrade membership? You just click on the link, Luis. If you're a ChrisBeCappinn supporter, then you pay, I think it's $2.99, and the plays don't get sent to you. That's just support for the show. But if you're a ChrisBeCappinn Community support member, then you pay, I think it's $5.99 or $4.99, something like that. I haven't changed the price in 2 years. So whatever that price is, just click on that one. And it should let you upgrade. G21 says, Storm got to get Skylar Diggins-Smith, NECA, and Gabby combo on points before the playoffs. Probably rest Lloyd and Ezzy. Shout out to my guy Michael for tapping in. He likes the under 38.5. CG says Storm in the over. Good luck to you today as well, Kara. Helm says he likes Ramondre Stevens over his rushing yards as well. Yeah, that Green Bay, that New York Jets defense has not been great against the rush. They are allowing 155 rushing yards per game, which is 24th in the NFL, 4.7 yards per pop, which is 19th most. And teams are running the ball 33 times per game, which is also the 26th most as well. Or you could say that, 26, you could say that the seventh most. So teams are trying to take advantage of the Jets and keep their offense off the field. New England has been really good with time of possession as well. They've actually possessed the ball the fifth highest amount of time, 56.6% for the New England Patriots offense. They have been staying on the field. Shout out to my guy Mark. Appreciate you for tapping in. Says, appreciate all the work you put in, Chris. Best of luck to everyone today. Right back at you. Helm says the Jets horrible in run defense. Just kind of talked about that. Guy says the Jets win. Mike drop likes from Andre Stevenson over 64.5. Can't Stop says he took the Jets minus 3.5 on his 50% profit boost on FanDuel. And for a player prop, he likes Aaron Rodgers up and over the 215.5 passing yards. PG says Breece Hall receiving yards over 31.5 on FanDuel. I like it. Shout out to you, my guy, Justin. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Hope you have a great day, man. PG says Brissett under 163.5 passing yards. I like it. I like his longest reception under 29.5 receiving yards as well. It's a number that he did get one time so far this season, but I don't think he's going to be able to push the ball down the field. I think the Jets' pass defense is going to be a little bit better today. They could potentially still struggle against the rush, but I don't think he completes a 30-yard pass today. So I like his under on his longest pass yards as well. But I love that, PZ. Love this look here. Appreciate you for tapping in, Prestigious Prodigy. Desmond says Garrett Wilson legacy game today. Marquis says I'm riding with your green with the dream money line. That's it from him today. Mark likes Garrett Wilson over 63.5 receiving yards. He should have a big day. I mean, we just saw DK Metcalf, same, physical structure type wide receiver have a really big day for the Seattle Seahawks in the last game. Appreciate you for tapping in, Alex. Jets can cover the 6 if it stays out there. I think I know favorites, dropped the ball last week. I kind of think the Jets get it done today, man. I think they can win the game by 2 possessions, but we'll see how it goes. I'll probably stay off the spread and just play the player props that we talked about. DJ props like Garrett Wilson anytime touchdown at plus 140. I think Hunter Henry at plus 480. I think I saw him. That's a nice juicy one. If somebody's going to score for the Patriots, why not be the guy that got 8 receptions and 12 targets last week? So I like that. Helm says he likes Tulane in college football -3 on Saturday. And that'll be the show for today, man. Cuppa Joe says bang the like on the walk out, y'all. Appreciate that, Cuppa Joe. Appreciate everybody for tapping in as always, man. Resources are here that I use to handicap the games. Referral code CBC will get you 20% off your first month at OddsJam. And referral code ChrisBeCappinn will get you 50% off Moneyballer. If you guys are interested. I see people like using this because I get a link when you guys are signing up. So appreciate everybody for tapping in and checking these resources out. Hopefully it's helpful for you handicapping the games. It's definitely what I used, along with the ones that you guys see in white at the bottom as well. And that's the show. Like my guy Cup of Joe says, bang that like on the way out if you enjoyed the show. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Like the show. Let me know what your best bet is in the comment for today, whether it's WNBA or whether you're betting Thursday night football. Bet responsibly as always. The link for my official plays is in the description, as it always is. And best of luck on all your action, man. Enjoy your Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, I'm out. Talk to you guys later.